We are live. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Monday Night Paranormal Live with myself, Paul from Host for Ghosts, Angela from South Coast Ghosts, and Paula down the bottom there. So, unfortunately, tonight Julia won't be with us due to have family reasons. So, we wish her well from all of us on here and all of everybody on the Paranormal Monday Night Live. So, we wish her well. She'll be back soon again. We have a few venues coming up soon with Paranation. So, we'll have investigations to talk about on the Monday night lives on what we had, what we got, and all that. So tonight we thought we would do about pareidolia and debunking evidence which was put forward by Gemma. So if you want to comment, please comment in. Angela will see them and put them up on the screen. Please come in and join us. Have a bit of fun. Tell us your takings on pareidolia and debunking evidence, how you've done that, what you've done. And also, we was going to touch a bit on signs from spirit. So if we recognise the signs that spirit send us, or, we sort of just brush past them because of our everyday busy life. So, to talk about pareidolia, which is, I'm not sure if people see, it's a thing in the brain where you can look at something and it reminds you of a face, or you see you know
something in
you see something in things, but generally they say that's what's called pareidolia, which is your mind making its own judgment and not yourself. I've had this a few times with myself. You take a picture or you sort of walk past and think, oh, that looks like a face, but when you go back and re-look at it, it's not. It's something that apparently the brain builds up and adds to it, and you can see faces, all sorts of different things, shapes and signs, and that in various wood, potatoes, all types of different things, trees.
it's Jen in the background.
And it's Jen in the background, out of sight. So if you hear a voice, it's not spirit, it's Jen. So please comment in with your findings. Here's the spirit here, look. Please comment in with your findings and your experiences, really. I want to say, let us know how you got on and how you would debunk evidence when you see it. Is it pareidolia? Is it evidence that you can explain away? Is it something you think it could be but it can't be but it should be? That type of experiences, and we've all had them types of experiences as we've gone along into the paranormal world on investigations, generally in daily life, really. You think, oh, hi Samantha, welcome. Thank you for coming in on Monday Night Live. We're talking about, hi Christine, welcome. We're talking about, sorry, just logged on. Okay, no worries. Thank you for joining us. We're talking about pareidolia and debunking evidence that we get. Do we trip over our own evidence thinking it's wishful thinking? Oh, yeah. We try to convince ourselves that it's real, but it's not, because we're in that situation, that energy that we believe it is, instead of taking a step back and looking at it and think, well, did I just see that shadow? Did I just see that move? Did it move? Didn't it move? All the things that we runs through our head. Sometimes we see things, say, yeah, did you see it? See it? But we need to take a little bit of a step back and then analyze what we just seen. Did anybody else see it? Did anybody else hear it? Was I the only one that saw and heard it? Or did somebody in another room heard the voice, heard the sound, heard the bang, heard the movement? Sometimes, and we're all guilty of it, we run, say, yeah, I've just caught something on the camera. But, like Angela and Paula tell you, when you go back over the camera, you know full well that the camera was running, but it's not there. Why is it not there? Is it that we wanted it to be there so much that it is there? And that brings you onto that pareidolia, where you imagine things that are there. People see faces in walls, and and it's just the shape of the light, it's just the damp of the brick. Some things are real. They're not pareidolia, because you see things in there and you think, well, that's real. That is actually real, because not only do I see it, many other people see it.
Yeah.
And it's an incident brings me to really when I first saw an apparition, really, because I doubted myself what I'd seen. Did I see that? Was that really him? Was he really standing there? And it wasn't when I actually saw him. It was on a paranormal night in a place called Mirris Wood, and we were doing an event. And the house is a square house, not a traditional house, and it's on 3 floors. So we have 3 different types of experiment on each floor with guests. So the ground floor was like Ouija boards, cat balls, etc. The second floor was like mediumship and contact, because that was the only floor that had 3 warm corridors and 1 freezing cold corridor. So you knew something in that area was not right, because it was a heated building, but why would that 1 corridor be cold? So, you sense something is not quite right in that corridor. So we did the ground floor, and I went upstairs with 6 other ladies, and we're standing in there, and I'm calling out, any spirit here, but, the normal sort of stuff. And in the corridor right opposite us was a massive flash of white light, like someone had took a picture. So I sort of looked and thought, there shouldn't be anybody up here, because we're all on individual floors doing individual experiments. So these ladies were sort of all standing near me. So I wandered off, went round to the opposite corridor, couldn't see anybody there, couldn't hear anybody, stood out on the landing. But well, that's very strange. Anyway, came back to this corridor again and calling out again. Suddenly there was this massive white blue light appeared in that corridor again. I thought it's got to be someone taking pictures. So I sort of rushed the opposite way round in case they were just going the opposite way round. As I got to the corridor, nothing. No one at all. I looked over the banister. Everybody was in their rooms with the doors shut. So as I came back, we stood in the corridor and I was calling out. And just about 2 or 3 feet, maybe 4 feet away from me, was a door that led into the corridor with a glass pane within the door. So I'm calling out, and these ladies are to my left about, 10 or 11 feet away. And then something changed in the corridor. You get that, where we were saying about, listen to your body will tell you whether it's right or wrong. And suddenly I had this feeling something's going to happen here. I really knew something was happening. And it was literally seconds later, and I looked at the door, and there was a face squashed against the glass of the door, looking in the corridor, and I'm thinking, who is that? And I looked again, and it was still there. I'm thinking, there's nobody out there. I know there's not. And at this specific point, these ladies never saw it. So I said, oh, Spirit, if that's you at the door, can you come into the corridor? And then suddenly the atmosphere changed. And when I looked to my shoulder, about 2 foot away from me was the man, a full apparition of a man standing looking straight at me. And I sort of looked and then thought, oh my God. And I looked back again and he was there. And then the second time I looked back was when the 6 ladies saw him from out of nowhere. So it went off like a bit like a starburst. There was one lady fainted, 3 or 4 others run down the fire exit. So all the fire alarms were going off. One woman was running around screaming. And I stood there for a few seconds and thought, did I just see what I thought I saw? And then I doubted myself, mate. But how could they, why are they kicked off? And so anyway, what we did was obviously we ended up rounding them up, and everybody came out of their rooms because the fire alarms were going off, and we had to sort of get this lady that had fainted, sort of get her sort of back and together. Yeah. So get her together again. And we ended up outside. So what we did outside was the people that run in the event that I was doing the investigation for separated all the people apart. So nobody could talk to each other. So nobody could corroborate their story. Yeah. So if you ever get anything like that, split people apart, because you don't want them to talk amongst each other, because the power of suggestion is very much great. So they say, yeah, he had this, and they'll go, well, actually, he did. But they didn't see that because you're suggesting that type of scenario. So we split them apart. And she said to me, well, you stand over there because you... And he literally was next to me. I could see the clothing, exactly what he looked like. And he was looking straight at me. So I knew what I'd seen. I thought, well, and then I started to doubt myself, a bit like that pareidolia. Did I see it, or did I want to see it that much that I was imagining he was there? But how could I have imagined it if these 6 other women had seen it?
Yeah.
How can that have been? So and when we questioned them, we obviously wrote down each individual's account of what had happened after they'd like stopped smoking. They're trying to light their cigarettes and they couldn't light the fags, and it was quite funny at the time. Obviously, they didn't think it was very funny,
No.
but and then eventually, it all calmed down and they started to laugh. So, oh my God, what did we do? And the lady that fainted, she just laughed. She said, I've never fainted in my life, but I saw a man standing next to you.
Yeah.
So in the end, we got all the things together and we got all their what they'd seen. And it's every one of these 6 women saw exactly the same thing at the same time. And they
Wow.
described the man in his suit, in like a tweed suit, and very well dressed, very sort of a moustache that was very well groomed. He was a very
Yeah.
well groomed man. And that's exactly how I saw him in his tweed suit, very well groomed. His hair was very smart. Yes, yes, and you
Yeah.
can easily be influenced. And this is what I was
Yeah.
saying to you about the power of suggestion, because you could be in a haunted location and somebody will say to you, "Oh, did you hear that knock?" And you'll think, "I think I did hear something, but I'm not sure." Yeah, I did hear it. So when people power of suggestion, that's why if you hear a knock, I know people say, "Oh, did you hear that?" But what you've got to remain is quiet and let
Yeah.
somebody else say, "Did anybody else hear that?" Because then you think, "Well, it ain't me that's suggesting there's a noise. There's something there. There's an apparition. There's a bang, a tap, a scream, a shout." So it's very hard as an investigator. Like we all know, you hear something, you think, "Did anybody else hear that?" But
Yeah.
the answer to that is try not to say. It's easy to say because you get something you want, and you bang, and you get a bang. Think, yes, did you hear that? But out of the 10 people, only 5 might have heard it. And the other
Yeah.
5, if you suggested, say, yeah, I did hear it. It was like a tap, but it wasn't. It was a knock. So you have to be careful how you suggest things to people when, especially us as investigators, you go in on a location and you very much switch on to that location. So some locations can be very visual, some can be very audible, where you hear more than you see, you feel more than you see. So you have to really sort of work your way out and adjust to your surroundings. So anyway, I got home that night and it was going through my head because it's the first time I'd ever seen an apparition. I'm thinking, I kind of it wasn't me that saw it. These 6 women saw it exactly the same time. And when I Googled it, he was the architect that built the house. And when we approached the office and told them of the building, they said, "Oh yeah, it has been known. People have seen him wandering up and down that corridor." And she
Oh.
described him in a tweed suit with a very, very groomed man, and he was the architect that built it in the 1600s or whenever it was. So you know, you can sort of rule out pareidolia or your imagination because 6 other people saw it at the same time. But even though you split them and got each individual person to tell what happened and what they saw or what they thought they saw, out of the 6, everybody described it the same thing, the same man, same looking. So then you think to yourself, it's got to be true because 6 different people have different senses. So each person's different. We sense things differently. But how can 6 people or 7 with myself on that exact time and spot had seen what we saw? So you can rule out, doubting yourself and that. And like you go to other locations really and things happen. I tend to question myself. Did I hear that? Did I really see something move? Did I? And it was like, where was it? The old convent when I went down to the basement on my own to get a quick scout round, and I saw the man standing in the doorway, and Cheryl was standing just up on the stairs from me. And I sort of looked and then I said, "Oh, all right," like someone was there. And Cheryl said, "Well, there's nobody there." I said, "But there's a man standing there." She went, "No, there's nobody down here other than you." But I still walked away thinking, Did I see that man standing there, or did I just want to see him there?
Mm.
I don't know. You know, he was around. Apparently, when they spoke to the lady, there is a man that haunts down there with a hat, exactly how I described it, seeing him, and he stands in the doorway looking out of the basement. So whether that's wishful thinking, I don't know. But I didn't know any of that because
No.
I didn't do any of the walk around when we first got there because we were late. So we just walked around on our own. So, you know, it's interesting to get other people's perspective on pareidolia, or did you see it? Didn't you see it? Did you hear it? Didn't you hear it? You know, if you've got any comments, please send them in. You know, we'll read them out and we'll chat about them. So I don't know about you, Angela. Have you had any experiences like that?
I know I've taken photos before, and I've thought I've seen a face in them. I remember one in particular. We've been at this really old cemetery, and that was the time where we saw sort of like an apparition that started to form, but it wasn't totally clear. But there was 3 or 4 of us that actually saw it, and I'm pretty sure I initially captured it on the photo, and then when I looked back on the photos afterwards, it disappeared. So that's why I'm not totally sure about that one. But I remember, because I was sort of quite excited and going through all my photos and thinking, oh, there must be something somewhere. And I remember this one photo, I was like, oh my God, there's a ghost. There's like a face on Amy's shoe. And then I showed it to Darren, he went, no, that is just her shoe. And I looked again, and it's just like the mud and the lighting. I was like, oh yeah, it's just her shoe. I got myself all excited and hyped up, and then sort of started seeing things that weren't there as like ghosts and stuff. But yeah, I think you can get sort of a bit overexcited and just want to see things, and then so you do, but it's not actually anything.
It's like that pareidolia comes in, doesn't it? Like you were saying, Andrew, you see things that you want to see.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought I must have caught another one somewhere, and no, it's just a shoe.
And like, you know, you swear blind you caught something on the camera and you go back and it's not there.
Yeah.
You know, how can that be? How can you have seen it with your physical eyes, but the camera's not? And then you think about how powerful the cameras are now. You know, they work at night, they work in day, they work in the rain, storms. You know, they take pictures of all year round, 365 days of the year. And yet you take a picture and you think, how can that not be there? I know there was something there.
A photo.
Yeah.
And then it just disappeared off the photo a bit later when I was trying to show someone else. And it's just, I'm sure it was this photo, but there's nothing there. And I went through all of it about 3 or 4 times, and it's just gone. So I don't know what happened there, but that was a bit weird.
And that's very difficult to explain, isn't it? Where it was in the photo, you've gone back to show someone, it's not there.
Yeah.
You know, it's then you doubt yourself, don't you? Did I actually see? Did I see that, or was I just? What did I actually see in the photo that led me to believe I saw? You know, and that leads you to sort of then trying to debunk the photo.
Yeah.
Maybe I didn't see it. Maybe it was a shape. Maybe it was a tree or a bush. Maybe it was, you know. Or sometimes you just got, like you say, Andrew, you've got to take yourself back to the basics and think, okay, I know I saw it, but why couldn't I get evidence of it?
Yeah.
Is it the spirit that clever they can disappear in a picture a few days later?
Don't know.
Who knows? You know, it's like the Polaroid films, isn't it? You know, when you in the old days you used to print them out and they would slowly develop on the side of the counter.
Yeah.
You know, could that happen in a picture, a modern day picture of a spirit? You know, could they dematerialize in the picture a few days later?
Interesting.
Yeah, because they're not sure. Well, I don't know what people's take on. Just comment in, give us your take on what we're saying. Whether you know, spirit you can get a photo of spirit, but it disappears in a couple of days. A bit like a Polaroid film where you get the picture and then you wait for it to develop on the side of your living room table or on a counter, and as it develops, you get the picture. But can they do the opposite way on a camera? Can they actually take their energy away from that picture? I don't know. How about yourself, Paula? Sorry.
The only place
Sorry,
sorry, go on.
I just said I wondered if anyone had investigated that before. I might have to look that up, see if there's people that have looked into it. Interesting to find out.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
mind blowing, really. If they can do that,
Yeah.
you can get a picture and then they can make it disappear within a few days, an hour, 20 minutes, whatever. How can they do that?
I've got a suggestion. Okay, so has anyone ever? Sorry, I can just about see myself now. Has anyone ever seen spirit art? When spirit art is being drawn, it's almost like you know you can see it all forming, and then all of a sudden it sort of like it comes in and out.
Oh, right.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah, and then all of a sudden, like the features start to sort of become a lot clearer, and it's like it's there, but it's not, and it's sort of coming in and out. It's a bit similar to what you're saying about can it be there or can it go? You know, can it disappear, sort of thing. And then, like when they've actually drawn the picture, you think, I'm sure those eyes were different to when they first started drawing it.
Oh,
Jenna tell you about a picture she was painting, drawing, and the eyes moved.
oh.
And then when I drew the lips in, because I do a bit of psychic art now. When I drew the lips in, the blimmin' thing smiled at me, and I'm like, whoa,
Oh,
yeah.
spooky.
Yeah, it was spooky, but it's like they come alive on the paper. Do you know what I mean? So that's why I think, yeah, they can. Why not? Spirit are really clever. They can do lots of things. So why not? Like bring it in, bring it out again. You know, there's a comment there. I think.
Wow.
Samantha, hi Samantha, welcome. Wow, yeah. And I remember Jen saying to me, I've just drawn this picture of this lady, and oh my god, the eyes have just moved. And I'm sort of, really? And then she said, like, the lips. Look, the lips have just smiled. She's like, oh my.
No, I literally threw the paper down.
She just threw it down and just. And
Do you think
you know that
the spirit actually went onto your paper? Do you know, like you do, like the mirror image type thing with the mirror of the
No,
body?
hang on, wait 1 second. I've got some drawings here.
it's like trance, isn't it? Where some mediums can have spirit come through and their face changes.
Yeah.
You know, it sounds like a bit like a trance where spirit come.
Right, it was this lady here. Hold on. Can you do it, darling?
There.
Right, it's this lady there. And as I drew the mouth, okay, she actually smiled at me. Right, so that's actually spirit drawing.
So is that where a location was? It somewhere you were basically where you're drawing it?
No, I was. It was actually psychic art group, and we tuned in already. We'd done like a meditation and tuned in, and we had to draw the person we thought was coming through.
Oh wow!
So do you know who?
Yeah, the one. I've got no idea who she was. No, the one that I drew when we were at
Titchfield Bugle at the Bugle.
Oh yeah.
Was this lady?
Was this lady here?
Oh yeah.
Okay. And I didn't know who she was. I drew that when they were doing the human pendulum.
That was the lady that came through.
That's the lady that came through. Then we got home quite late, and it wasn't until the next day that we looked it up. Hold on a sec. I'll get it on my phone. We looked it up, and that lady, hold on. Yeah, that lady had been murdered.
She was murdered in the graveyard behind where we were.
And if I wait till I find the picture.
When Jim finds the picture, you'll see it's an uncanny likeness.
Amazing.
And this was like Googled after we'd left.
Yeah.
You know, the following day or a couple of days or whatever it was after.
Yeah.
And when we Googled it, Jen said, look at this. You're not going to believe the likeness.
So, okay, so that's.
So that. Oops.
Oh yeah,
Can
you see it?
Yeah.
You see the lady there?
Yeah.
Okay. So if you imagine that, Yeah, and then look at the drawing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's an
Got them eyes,
uncanny
haven't they?
likeness, isn't it?
Yeah. And the
Yeah.
The
nose.
lit.
Yeah.
It's an uncanny likeness, isn't it?
And it
Yeah.
came out that she was the lady that had been murdered.
She was one of the ladies that had been murdered in the graveyard behind the
Titchfield.
pub where we were doing the investigation with South Coast Ghosts. So,
Oh.
you know, so these things do come in and out, and that sort of, you know, can lead you on to. Have you had any experiences, Samantha Cameron? Yeah, absolutely, Samantha. It's just uncanny how spirit, you know, maybe they see a door on opening and they think, oh, I'm going to get in there because I want someone to know my story, or,
Yeah.
you know, mate, you know, you just don't know because spirit are clever, aren't they? You know, we all know how clever. Yes, Christine, it's amazing that Jen was sitting there and knew nothing about this lady. None of us did, really. We were there to investigate the pub.
Hello.
Hi, Luke.
Hello.
So we were there to investigate the pub, and what a great night we had there with the robot. And,
Yeah.
you know, it was a very, very brilliant venue to be at. You know, we're very honoured to be allowed to do that. You know, there's a lot of hard work on Darren and Angela's behalf to get a paranormal group in there. But to have that sort of evidence come through, you know, it's just, it just sort of blows your mind, really, whether, you know, how clever spirit can be, you know, and that also sort of leads you on to the, I don't know about you, Paul, have you had any experiences like that, you know, where you thought you saw something, but you didn't, but you're sure what you saw, or?
The only time, because we haven't been doing it long, but the only time when I went with Darren, basically, that Knoll Cemetery, basically, he said that he went there. We went with Angela a few times, haven't you? And everything else, Angela.
That's where I
And
got
I
the
remember,
photo.
yeah, well, that's what I'm on about.
Yeah.
It's weird because, you know, the middle bit, there's a middle bit basically where this grave is basically. There's
Yeah.
it's a bit eerie there, actually. I've talked about it before here, but no, basically, but
Sorry.
well, you walk down the slope, down this bit, and anything else, and you go round, and there's a grave right in the middle, basically, and you see him when you're at the top, you see through these trees. And I remember him saying about Molly, basically, he was going mad about this grave and everything else, this place over there. But it's weird because we was walking down the side, and I had my camera and I was taking pictures, tick, 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 like you do, basically. Because like Julie was saying, always take loads of pictures and everything else. So I had my camera out. I had extra battery, so make sure I had enough to me, like you do, right? And then my phone, then my camera just shut it down. I was like, what? And I was like, there's no battery. It just don't, and the other one went flat as well, so I couldn't even put the other battery in. It just went dead. And I'm thinking, what is going on? Do you know what I mean? And when I got home, it seemed he said about this. That's when I said about the phone, you know, my camera, and I was taking pictures and everything else. And I said to him, I said, well, that's really weird because I was taking pictures of that grave, la 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 la. And he went, what grave? I said, that one there. He said, well, you saying that? He said, Molly, when we was last time here, she was barking and barking, going mad over this grave and everything else. And he said, and she really didn't like it. And there was a presence there and everything else he felt and everything else there. And I said, oh, right, okay, right. So we took other pictures and up further, didn't like this area basically either. When I got up further, I said to Julie, I said, I'm not going any further. There's something that's not quite right here. I said, because I started feeling, I wanted to cry. That's what I felt like. I started tearing up. I started to cry and I felt stressed there and everything else. And I had to move away from that area. And there was literally a brick building. Well, it was partly bricked there, but it's fallen now. Basically, I don't know if it was a little chapel there. I don't know what it was originally, but it's all fallen away. But there was not something that was not nice there in that area. So I had to move away from that area. But when we left, I went home and everything else because it was asylum, wasn't it? Based cemetery where people died, they died there, didn't they, Angela? And but they, when I got home, I thought, you know, next day, I thought I'd take them pictures off, print them off, blah, 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 and everything else. And I noticed one of them would not print out. It was blank. But on my camera, you could see it. That's how weird it was. On my camera, I can see it. Basically, there's a grave and there's a white bit here in the middle. And I showed Justin, I said, look at that. He said, looks like something there. That's what he said to me. I think there's something there. But it would not let me print it.
That's strange.
To this day, I cannot put that picture. Every time I try to put it up on the computer to download it, it just blank. It's saying error, blah, blah, blah. It will not let me print that picture out.
Do you think there's something on there that you shouldn't be seeing,
Yeah.
or someone?
Yeah. Something stopping me, doesn't want me to print that picture out for some reason. It shut that camera down because it didn't want me to take something, but I must have got something because I was at the other end.
Yeah.
I took it at the top originally.
Yeah,
And then when I
yeah,
said to, because that shut it down right by there and everything else, and then I said to Darren, and he said, "Oh, this what happened with Molly. She went mad, la la la." Then I thought, oh. Then when I got home later on, I was trying to print that picture out. It would not. I tried all different ways. Even downloaded it on my printer, on my computer, trying to see if I can get it up. No, it wouldn't let me do it. So it's something weird about that place. It's really weird.
Oh, yeah.
Just don't understand, isn't it?
it's
You've
it's a
had some.
very odd. Yeah, we went there with Darren. Kindly took us
Yeah.
there. I think Angela was there, Jem was there,
Yeah.
and who else was with us? Might have been Luke. Luke,
Yeah,
were
I
you
think
there?
He was there. He was
That's
there.
right, you were. Darren
Yeah.
very kindly and Angela took us there one afternoon because Darren
Yeah.
said, "Oh, you've got to go there. You just
Yeah.
literally got to go there." And we went there, and it was a very strange place, you know. And we wandered around. Darren was saying, "Well, what can you feel?" And I'm saying, "There's something about that tree, whether someone was hung from the tree or something bad happened around that tree." And it
Yeah.
is a place where I took lots of photos and different angles, and a few of them photos never came out. They were just completely blank.
Yeah. There you go.
And I know it's a
Yeah.
digital camera I had on
Yeah.
that time. Because
Yeah.
Darren was saying, take pictures, do this, do that, which is what we were doing. But a lot of my digital photos were blank.
Yeah.
And I know for well, because I could see it in the viewfinder what I was looking at,
Yeah.
but it was blank. There was nothing there. It was
Yeah.
like it had just gone.
Yeah.
How you explain that? I don't know. Could it have been an error on the camera? Quite possibly. Why would the camera take it other spots but not this specific spot or that spot?
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
what's the difference other than energy in that position, in that
Yeah.
spot? Maybe there's an energy block within that area, and it's the same. Most locations you go, don't you take photos and you take lots of it, and you whip through them, and then you think, well, hang on a minute, how come there's nothing on that one but there is? And this is why they say when you take a photo is you take 3 pictures of the same place, don't move, because then you have something to look at over 3 photos to see if there's anything there.
Yeah.
Because if you don't get it in one, you might get it in the second or the third, and vice versa. So it's always worth. They always say, take a short burst, 3 pictures in a row, then go back and review it, because something in that picture is going to be different. If you've got something, it's in that picture.
That's what I was trying to do, see, but the camera shut down. So something was trying to stop me to take a picture in that area.
Yeah, yeah. Well, something needed the energy from them batteries or that camera. The spirit often draw your batteries down flat when they're close, or something. They're going to do something. They need that energy to build. And camera batteries and stuff like. How many times have you charged, video cameras and all that gone there, and you've gone switch it on, it starts recording, and gone do it, flat battery.
Yeah.
Now, how can that be? I've only just charged it.
Yeah, I know.
Or charged it on the way, or I charged it over 2 days. It's full. I checked it, and that happened to me at the old convent. I know my cameras because I tend to charge them out a few days before, and then make sure the SD cards are clear. I've got no overlapping pictures, videos, anything that could overlap and cause something to be there that's not.
Yeah.
And I remember going in there, and I was a bit late, so I wanted to do like I've got a new video camera I'm trying out to do like daylight walk around, so people can get the aspect from the day and then see how different it changes at night. Yes, he was very much. Darren was very much into the camera side of it. There wasn't anything that he couldn't tell you about cameras. He was so clever like that, and he advised me on what to do and how to do it. And I'll be forever grateful that he done that for me and allowed me the time, gave me the time to do that. And that's the sort of guy he was. But I wanted to do daylight walkarounds with a camera, so you can see the effect from going down around a location in the daylight to how different it changes at night. See, so you see a good walk around Women Manor or the old convent in the daytime, and it looks like this beautiful old house, and you know,
Mm.
nothing ever happens there because it is such a beautiful house. And yet, when it goes dark, things change,
Yeah.
very much
Yeah.
change, and that sort of catches a lot of people out, don't they?
Mm.
It does, yeah.
Yeah.
And I think some of that's down to because you lose the sense of seeing.
Mm.
You know, you lose one of your senses, so you go from in the daylight seeing, hearing. You know, you can pick out colours, you can pick out people movement, you can hear. You could, you know, everything happens during the day for us. But when you take one of your senses away, like you take your eyesight away, it's a bit like doing the Estes method. You know, where you have a blindfolded headphones on. Have you ever seen that happen? And people talk out of what they can hear.
Yeah.
It's because you take the sense of sight away, so everything
Yeah.
else becomes that much more heightened. So I think sometimes as we go from sort of late afternoon into early darkness, and then you know the full night comes, our body changes, doesn't it? Because it has to cope with going from daylight to dusk and then into the dark. So I've often, and I've run this past Darren a few times, you know, take a good video during the daylight, a wander around, you know, taking pictures, and then compare that and do the same sort of journey at night in the dark with a night camera. So you can compare how much difference has happened. I know it's got darker, but how much more the atmosphere changes between dusk and darkness, you know? And that's often fascinated me at the difference. Well, bodies can tell, we can physically see it's gone dark, but then our hearing becomes more sensitive, our feeling, our body becomes more sensitive to it because you can feel the change. And you do feel the change in how, like you say, Paul, it goes creepy. You feel the creepiness about a dark house, you know, and it's like a haunted house. You go there in the daylight, but would you return in the night? It's the same house.
Yeah.
So what's the difference in the daylight to at night time? You look at a house and think, cool, that's well haunted, and you'd wander around in the daylight quite happily, wouldn't you? And it's a bit like Angela and Darren going to Alistair Crowley's place. You know, Angela, would you have gone back there in the dark?
I don't think so. There wasn't any natural light other than the moonlight, so I don't like things where it's like complete darkness. That's just too.
Especially with like the pentagram on the floor.
Yeah.
That would just creep me out.
Well, yeah.
Don't put your two.
But that's that. Hello, mate. You okay? And that's the difference.
No.
And that's again, you know, is that pareidolia? Is that or paranoia? You think I ain't going in there because it's haunted. I know it is, but you would have walked around there in the daylight.
I think it's just because I can't see.
Yeah.
It wasn't the actual what was there. It's just if I needed to get out, I wouldn't be able to find my way out. That's the.
And also, is that to do with the power of suggestion? Because you've come into the building, so you know your way out. But because you're in the dark, is it that you're disorientated? Because you've got a torch. What's to stop you shining the torch around to know your way out? It's like, you know, if you go into a forest, you drop down these fluorescent sticks, you break them and drop them. So you've always got a way out. You know, you never go investigating when you, like Angela's saying, you go in there and you can't find your way out because that's when sheer panic sets in because you get that trapped feeling. You know, and it's like doing any location, anywhere you go, you always got to make sure there is a way out. And you know where that way out is. Well, I know the doorway is to my back, so if I turn completely 180 degrees round, I'll be facing the doorway. You know, if someone's to spin you around in a circle in the dark, you'd still, with the torch, you'd still work out where you were. And that's the difference by investigating in the daytime. Spirit's still there in the daytime. We had this discussion as well as nighttime. Just at night, things feel more creepy. Christine Wells put, we felt like that when we were at Shepton on our sleepover, totally different in the daylight. Thanks, Christine. Just send us a note. How did it go? How did you get on at Shepton overnight? It's quite a place, and that's the difference between investigating in the daytime and investigating at night time. Sometimes you've got to take a little bit step back in the dark because Can I explain it? I'm not explaining very well, am I? Because you go there, you know it's a haunted location. That's it. So you assume in the daylight it's not haunted because I can see where I'm going.
Hmm.
But how do you know that person walking across the end of the building is not a spirit?
Mm.
You assume it's not because it's not dark. But if you saw that shadow figure in the dark, you'd say, "There's a spirit. I've just seen a shadow figure." That's the
I
difference.
think,
Do you understand what I mean?
yeah, I think the problem is a lot of people don't believe ghosts are in the daytime. I think that's the problem. I think a lot of people think it's at nighttime only. And I think
Yes.
when they go to places in the daytime, they just look round and think, oh, no, no, I don't mean, they don't think they're not going to see a shadow or nothing like that. But when it's at night time, people believe, oh, when they go to sleep, people will sleep when everything else normally, aren't they? But when it's a dark and they can't see, you're not visible is low and everything else, you've got a torch and everything else, and they do see something, that's the difference between your sights in it and everything else, I think, really. Because at night time you
But
don't see as much, do you? Basically, you're sighting and everything else, and you've got to use a torch, so you probably see more. But then in the daytime, you saying that you'd see more in the daytime, wouldn't you? Really, but you wouldn't see the shadows. That's the thing.
you would see someone standing in the doorway. Would you believe
Oh
that's
yeah,
a real
yeah,
human, or was that an apparition? Because you take a double take and it's not there. Would
yeah,
in the daytime would you give that a second thought and think, did I just see that, or oh well, it must have been somebody walking past?
yeah.
So
True.
how do you not
Yeah,
know it's spirit?
yeah.
What's your take on it, Luke? What do you think?
Well, that had experiences where I've seen someone and they disappeared. I
During the
was in
daytime?
I was in a bank and this lady said, "You can use that machine over there." Then when I looked back, she was gone. I didn't see her leave the door or nothing. You saw it, didn't you? I
What?
think
And the lady you spoke to wasn't there?
I didn't see her leave the bank or nothing. Just disappeared. I think.
And that's how real it can be, isn't it?
And there's a
You know,
man
that split second.
where is it gone? There's a man. Well, that we had a Julia's ghost hunt in Oxford, a cottage. We saw this man standing at us with Cheryl and Gemma, and he was just staring at us. He had old-fashioned clothing on as well.
And then
He
was that
just
during the daytime?
no, it's dark actually.
That was a
It
yeah,
still felt
yeah.
like a real person though. He did,
He felt
but
like a real person.
I don't think he was. The energy was all off. He didn't speak to us either. He was a real person.
And that's where it, you go back to, like, pareidolia, Luke. That means that you make things up in your mind. You think you see a face, you think you see whatever, and that brings us back to the beginning of the pareidolia, where you debunking things when you know I should think most paranormal investigators could debunk 80% of the evidence that you get, but it's that 20% where you're just not sure. And Darren was a great believer in that, to debunk it, and he would say to you, 80% of people you would be able to debunk it, debunk the evidence. But it's that 20% where you think, well, it's not normal, but could it be paranormal, or is it just that I'm suggesting this? And this brings you back round again to the pareidolia, doesn't it? Where someone suggests something. Did you hear that knock? Oh yeah. And I'm a great believer in, if you hear something, let someone else say it,
Yeah.
because that validates what you're hearing. Because if someone else has heard it, it can't be just you.
Yeah, I
Because if
found
you,
quite often on investigations, I might hear a little sound and then I sort of look around at people to see if they've got a reaction to it. And I don't say anything because I don't want other people to then just say, oh, yeah, I heard that. And I go, oh. But I just sort of look around. If no one else says anything, I think, okay, I probably didn't hear that then.
and it that sort of brings me back to where we were at Wimmering Manor. And I think I was with Justin and William then by the bottom of the staircase. And all three of us could have sworn we saw someone leaning over the banister looking down. But I didn't say anything. They sort of went, oh. And they went, oh, what was that then? And we all sort of looked at it and said, I thought I saw someone looking over the banister. So it wasn't just me, but I didn't say it. But I think it was William and Justin that said it. Who was that up there then?
Yeah.
And it's difficult not to say, like Andrew said, you look around the room, you want to say something because you think, oh my God, we've just had a knock or a response. But sometimes you just got to take that little bit of step backwards and wait for someone else to react. Then
It
you
was a
think to yourself,
gentleman, wasn't it? It was a gentleman that
it
looked over,
was.
wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. Because
Yeah.
we stood there and all three of us looked up at the same time,
Mm,
like this man was leaning over looking down the stairs. And
yeah.
I didn't say anything. I sort of went, looked down again. I thought, did I just say? And then I think it was William or Justin went, oh, what was that? And because I never said anything, I thought, and I said, oh, what was that then? And
Mm,
it looked like a man leaning over the banister. So then that justifies what you've seen
mm,
because someone else has seen what you've seen. It's not as though you suggested it and they've gone along with it because you power a suggestion that you suggested, oh, yeah, we did see that. It's if each individual person can say, and that's where it's always good to say, well, what did you hear? What was the sound like?
mm,
Making out that you don't know you heard a sound. You've got to make out that you didn't hear it. Oh, what was that? What was the voice then? Did you say something, scream or shout or? And if 2 or 3 people say, well, actually, I heard that, then you know that you're onto something. You know, you all can't be mad, can you? You know,
I think
all
a
of
lot
you.
of people. I think a lot of people don't want to say nothing, do they? I think that's a
No.
problem sometimes. If they hear something they don't want to say, and you rather they did say something, so you know. Do
Yeah.
you mean? You not go
And
stupid yourself.
it's not, it's like I always say, you know, in the paranormal world, in anything, there's no stupid questions. People
No,
think, oh, I won't ask that because it's stupid. It's not stupid.
no.
You've got to ask it because if you're doing a human pendulum, and we've touched on this before, spirit can answer that question before you've asked it because they know what you're thinking. They know what that question, because you see the person in the middle swaying backwards and forwards, you think, well, hang on a minute, I haven't asked a question. So then you've got to push yourself out of that and say, well, who in this circle has got a question? And somebody just say the question. And people look at each other, especially newer people, because you're, and I've been in a situation where you don't want to call out, you know, you're new and you think, oh, I don't want to do that, you know, because it makes me look something out. And, you know, and people do that. People tend to sort of stand back and let someone else do it. But sometimes, you know, you've got to force that person to make that question because spirit wants to answer that question, but you need to answer it. And by saying that there is no stupid questions, which there isn't,
No.
it's just you've got to wait for the answer, and spirit have already given you the answer before you've asked the question because they know what the question's going to be.
I
You
think
know,
that's what happened in these. That happened exactly the same at when Darren was at that stamp show down there. I was thought of something, and suddenly said, "Who was it thinking?" Blah blah. And I said, "It's me."
yeah,
and
but
I
you
said what it was, and he said, I knew it was one of you
they
lot
just
round
knew it was
here.
coming.
Do you mean?
Yeah,
Do you mean? Do you mean? And I was thinking something, and he said, "What were you thinking?" I said what it was. He went, "You're right. That's what it was." Because Darren knew what I was thinking, and he said
yeah,
it. It was like, do you mean? And I was
because
thinking, but like you say, you don't
you
got to say
connect with
something do you,
spirit
straight
that
away.
much.
Yeah.
You connect with spirit, or spirit see that there's their way of talking, so they
Yeah.
connect, and you think, where's that question come from? But it came from you.
Yeah, it was in my head, and I said it. It's what came into my head. So whatever they said it to me. So I passed it on. Do you know what I mean? So it came
Yeah,
out.
because you put it
Yeah,
out there, don't you?
yeah,
You send it
yeah,
out there.
yeah.
And
But
it's like asking the universe of things, isn't it? To manifest things. You put it
yeah,
out there, spirit will hear it.
mm,
You know, and they'll do their utmost to help you in that time that you know, you're manifesting a dream or, you know, something, money, whatever it may be, you know, and they say put it out there because spirit will work on it. It doesn't always come straight away, but it does. And I used to do it. I think, oh, I'd really like a red motorbike. I really, you know, I thought I'd try this, and I did it for months and months and months. Nothing ever came of it. And I'm thinking, why is it not coming then? And then one day I saw a red motorbike that I bought. And it
oh
wasn't until I was
wow,
riding home I suddenly thought, it's the red bike that I wanted.
oh
And
god,
that was eight,
yeah,
9 months, nearly a year later. So when you put it out there, don't, because you don't get an instant response back, don't give up.
mm,
You know, just keep putting it out there because spirit will do their utmost to help you. You know, they can't do it all, but they
no,
can do their utmost to help you. You know, and it's like, it brings us on to spirit signs. You know, we all probably see spirit signs every day, numbers, birds, feathers, all sorts of different things. You know, where spirit can make things happen, but it's whether we choose to acknowledge that. Yeah. And the other day I saw 111, and then I saw it on a bus, or I saw it on an ambulance. 3 sets of 111 means something spiritually. And is that spirit trying to get something through to you? And it's like some people, suddenly you have a white feather appear. Where's that come from? Again, that's, and my contact from spirit is a robin, because I see a robin with a red breast, a pure red breast. And then I always say, okay, spirit, what's your message? And I'll get something. I don't know about anybody else on here, but that's my sign from spirit. There's a message. Because how can you have a robin, which you associate during the winter, come out during the summer?
Yeah.
And you can get very close to it because it's there.
Mm.
And I say, okay, spirit, what's the message? And I'm asking them, why am I seeing this? What's the message? And 9 times out of 10, I'll get a message. The most random message, but I think, okay, it'll be, I can't off the top of my head remember. It'd be something, I think, oh, bloody hell, that's the sort of thing Darren would say. But how can that be? But that's my sign from spirit that there's a message for me. I don't know about you, look, Angela. What do you get?
I have noticed a lot of feathers, and they always seem to be sort of grey and white feathers mostly. And whenever I see them, I always say thank you, because I think it's a sign of something. And then I just remember just then, on Saturday night, I was going to, or Saturday afternoon, I was going to my sister's hen do, and I was getting ready, and I just said out loud, sort of to Darren, I know it's a hen do, but I'd like you to be there with me. And then as I was changing, I saw this little fluffy white feather on my bedroom floor. I've no idea where it came from. So I just picked it up and I put it down my top and I said, thank you. And then I sort of carried it around with me all night. So in a way,
nice.
Unreal, isn't it? Unreal.
Yeah.
And yet you put it out there and he come forward. He gave you the sign. What about you, Luke? What do you get from spirit?
It's mainly the I noticed the clock numbers on the clock, like 555 or 222 or something like that.
Yeah, 1, 2,
Happens
3,
quite
4
often, actually, almost every day.
And do you ever look up the meanings of them, Luke?
Yeah, but I don't know. It's all different things. I don't understand it really. They all say different things.
What do you mean in different things?
Right. Can I make a suggestion then?
I don't know. It's confusing me really.
Right.
Nothing.
Can I make a suggestion?
Yeah, I'm just
Luke?
going to suggest something to you, Luke.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm here. Right. So when you see, for instance, I'm going to say, for instance, 555.
Yeah.
Okay, and you don't actually know what it means. Spirit will keep giving you that until you work it out. For instance, I used to see 555, and it was when I had to sell my house. Okay, I started getting leaflets through the door, and it would say on the leaflet, changes are coming, right?
Oh, God.
So you look at 555, usually it talks about major changes, okay, which it would have been a major change for me because I had to sell my house. And anyway, in the end, I used to then get woken up at 5:55 every morning. I'm thinking, oh no, not again. Why have I woken up at 5:55? Like, I don't have to get up for another hour. Okay. Then one morning, okay, and this is how spirit worked with me particularly. One morning, I thought, oh no, 5:55 again. And this massive voice came at me. We're getting you ready for the changes bit by bit. Now, do you see how they worked on that? Like by putting leaflets through the door, then I might see something on the bus changes, that kind of stuff. And then they worked it to the point where they made it absolutely 100% clear to me what they were talking about. We're getting you ready for the changes bit by bit.
Samantha Cameron's put, I've woken up and seen a man at the end of my bed and popped my head under the cover. Also walked into my bedroom and seen another one and jumped back. Went back in there and they're gone. And I also seen orbs.
Oh, wow.
Generally, you know, it could have
Usually a loved one.
it could have been a
Yeah.
loved one that
Yeah.
you'd seen, and because spirit are very clever like that, you know, they don't suddenly appear in front of you because they know we'd be freaked out by it because
Mm.
we're not ready for it. Some people are sensitive, can cope with that. You know, spirits suddenly appear to them in a dream, and spirits come nearer in a dream when you're asleep because it's easier for them to contact you.
She was awake, Paul.
And that, I know she was awake, but that would have been a loved one standing there, just to assure you. It probably would have been coming up to an anniversary, a passing, or something like that, just as a reminder. And spirit can do that, can't they? You know, you could be driving along and suddenly you get
Sorry.
a piece of music. You think, oh, grandma used to like that, or granddad like that. And then you think, oh, well, that reminds me, I have to go to the cemetery or the graveyard to take some flowers. The spirit are very good like that. But instead of suddenly appearing out of the dark and you think, well, hang on, you're dead. How can you be standing in front of me to literally scare the living daylights at you? They can actually do that, be there and then gone in that split second. Or you smell, or you sense them there, or something tells you that they're there. It's not something to be afraid of, because if you're not ready, they won't do it. Samantha, if you're still listening, you know, it was there. It could have been that there was an anniversary or passing coming, and that you were thinking about them at that time as you entered the bedroom, or you know, standing, whoever it was, you know. And I had a similar thing with my nan, standing at the bottom of my bed for 4 days in a row. I couldn't see what she was saying to me, but she was there. How I remembered her. But every time I sort of sat up to see what she was trying to say, and she disappeared. You know, and then I thought, oh, it must be me. I must be having a daydream. Or I must be having a nightmare. Something's going on. But to have it 4 days in a row, and on the 4th day, I still couldn't see what she was saying, and it never happened ever again. So I don't actually know to this day what she was trying to tell me or get through to me, whether it was to do the paranormal. I don't know what it was. But, you know, sometimes if we're not ready, they can make you jump, but they don't mean to,
No.
you know. So that sort of thing, you know, you none of us are ready for something like when somebody jumps out on you, isn't it? None of us are really ready for it because you're not expecting it. And you open the door and there's someone standing there. You think, hang on a minute, what are you doing? Hey? And in that split second, you look back, they're gone. Because none of us are expecting it, are we? We're not ready.
No.
Then the spirit know that. And the last thing they want to do is to frighten you. You know, it's not what they're there for. But generally, they come close during an anniversary, a passing, like I say, or some special occasion.
She can go with that.
Samantha asked if you can go with it. Can you go with that if it was coming up for an anniversary, a passing, or a special occasion, or that you were thinking about someone? Because that generally could be why you saw them when you opened the door and walked into that room. You know. So what? You know. So that leads me on to signs. What about you, Paula? What sort of signs do you get?
Well, it varies sometimes. Rooks are usually I see rooks or blackbirds. Basically, sometimes I have got robins in my bed. Do have birds quite a lot in my garden and everything else. But lately, it's been a blackbird for some reason. I've had a
All
blackbird
right.
turning up all the time at the
Look it
moment.
up.
Have you ever looked it up? The spiritual meaning of a blackbird.
No.
It should.
It's well worth googling,
Yeah.
like you, Luke.
Yeah.
You know, look at angel numbers.
Yeah.
Because in that 555, that 222, the 111, or like Angela said, 1234, there'll be a meaning. But that meaning will only be what you can understand. Only you will understand
It's like
that.
I said, though, that, you know, spirit will make it clear to you what it is. Sorry, you can't see me. But yeah, spirit will make it clear to you exactly what it is eventually.
There you go. There's your answer, Angela. My dad hadn't long passed.
Right.
So that would explain what we're sensing, and to say that.
You mean that's Samantha, you mean?
Samantha, sorry. My mistake. You know, Samantha, that validates what you saw would have been your dad there to just to assure you that he's okay.
Yeah.
You know, and spirit can be that clever. They don't want to scare you, but they want to reassure you. And coming up, you know, him obviously coming back that quickly and just saying, I'm okay. I'm all right.
Yeah.
because you were obviously thinking about him at that time you entered the room, and he knows that. So he makes sure that he gave you something for comfort, like
Yeah.
Jen's saying. It's a comfort thing, you know, and
Might
we
be
all
where
look
she
for
was.
that comfort.
It might be where she was really upset about losing him and everything else, and he's trying to give her a bit of consolation. They do, don't they? Come back and say everything's
Absolutely. Yeah.
okay.
That's all
Just saying I'm
spirit want to
okay.
do.
Yeah. They
And
don't
it's
want to see that
sometimes,
you're hurting, do they?
so sometimes, you know, when you give messages, you know, it's a message to start someone on that healing path, because you know, someone passes away and you always think, oh, are they okay? Are they well? Or, you know, what's happening to them? You know, are they still in pain? And that type of question. But when you give a message and you give that message about them, you know, to me, if I see spirit when I'm giving a message jumping up and down, to me, that's my connection with that. They couldn't walk in the earth plane before they passed, but now they can because they're in no more pain.
Yeah.
And that's sometimes all someone wants to hear. You say, they're happy.
Mm.
The pain's gone, the illness is gone. They're happy. They're with a loved one, and sometimes that's all somebody needs to hear. They cry, and I always feel really guilty when they start crying. I think, oh, what have I said? You know, and Jen said, don't be
No.
silly. It's because
No.
that's what they
Happy
want.
tears.
It's happy
Yeah.
tears. It's because that's
Yeah.
what they spirit want you. If you're giving a message, it's not me that's giving the message. It's spirit or their loved one, and their loved one's saying to reassure them that they're okay. And that could be like Samantha was saying, where she opened the door and the man, the shadow, the figure was in the room, would have been her dad saying, it's fine. I know you're thinking about me, but it's fine. And that's how they can do it. That's how clever spirit can be. You know, we all wish to see a loved one again, but it's never going to happen. But when you need them, they're there. You know, you have them down days or them good days, and you think, oh, they'd have really enjoyed it, and suddenly they would be there. Samantha's put, when I saw him the second time, I walked into my bedroom, and it was how he was in his coffin. That's what scared me and made me jump, as he looked awful. Because
Oh.
that could be that it's soon after the passing that, that you know, some of the spiritual people, a lot of people say that they go to the halls of healing where they're healed. But it could be that he's assuring you that he's moving on to somewhere, and that one day he'll come back as he was, not
Yeah.
in the
I'm
coffin.
sure he
But,
didn't mean to frighten her.
he's not there to scare you. It's,
Mm.
it's a strange thing to happen, to see that, because generally spirit come back, you know, and most people, when we do reading, you see them in their middle ages, their 30s or their 40s, when they're at their prime. Very rarely do you see them as an old person. You normally see them when they were in their prime
And healthy
and happy and having a real good life. Is how they present themselves. To me, that is, it may be different to others, but that's how I present themselves to me. You know, as a slightly younger person. And quite why that happened, Samantha, I don't know. The very strange thing to happen, but maybe he's just there to reassure you. Albeit quite an awful vision, I'd imagine, to see it.
Mm.
But maybe that's what you would imagine him being like. You know, that would have been the last time you saw him. Maybe that's just stuck in your memory. And that specific time you walked into that energy, and that's what came to you.
Yeah, or maybe it was because you might not have believed it if you saw him any differently. Do you understand what I mean?
Yeah.
But she's saying something else.
No. If it sometimes, you know, you see him like that. If you'd have seen him in a middle-aged man happy, would you have doubted yourself then? Would you have realised it was him?
Yeah. He was making sure that you knew it was him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because that was the last vision you had of him, and that's the
Yeah.
only vision that he's got to reassure.
You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you know what you saw in the coffin, and he's just like Jen saying, reassuring you. But at some stage, he will come back as a younger man. You know, whether you have a reading or, you know, you're a sight medium or whatever yourself. I'm not sure, Samantha, what, you know, you're sensitive and empath. But maybe one day he'll come back and he'll look different, younger. Very true. Thank you, really, man. I appreciate your thoughts. You know, you're very welcome, Samantha. You know, do come on and put your comments over. We're here to help, not just chat about the paranormal. If we
Mm.
can help people with their problems, we
Mm.
certainly will. If we don't know the answer to the problem, we certainly will find someone that will, and we can come back on there, or we can directly contact you, direct message or whatever, and give you the answer that you're looking for. We're here to help because we're like para-unity, para-unified poopy. We're all in the same family. We're all together, and we all think similar. On investigations, we all have that same aim. And we all have that burning question in our mind, don't we?
Mm.
Is there life after death? That's the burning question everybody asks themselves. Some people believe it, some people don't. Just that we go looking for that answer, and some of the things that we've come across looking for that answer, sort of, it's a bit mind blowing. Because you can't put it down to you thought about it or you thought you saw it. Some of the evidence that we've come across, and all of you on here will be the same thing. It sort of makes you wonder then, you're heading towards the answer to that question. Whether in your lifetime you'll ever get that answer, who knows?
I think spirit like to try and get the answer to you in the end, by proof and that kind of stuff.
A lot of it's down to yourself as well. It's like leading a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. So spirit can
Yeah.
lead you in that direction, but you've got to do some of the work. They can't
Yeah.
do it all for you.
Mm.
People say, oh, well, I saw this, but you've got to work at it. It's like you, Luke, with your numbers. You think, oh, well, yeah, I saw 222, I saw 111. Maybe spirit are trying to tell you need to go a bit further now. Investigate them numbers.
There's there's too many websites to say different things. I'm not sure what's real and what's not.
But only you can make your mind up. Something in one of them websites will only make sense to you and no one else.
Yeah.
You'll read something, you'll say, I don't know, angels are coming and there's a knock on the door and someone's in your bed, and you'll go in there and look like someone's in your bed. Only you will be able to relate to that message. You can read hundreds of websites, but somewhere in one of them websites there'll be something you'll relate. You think, oh my God, you'll have that light bulb moment like we all do.
Yeah.
You think, I can go with that. I can totally understand what that means. Another website, you think, well, that doesn't mean anything.
No.
But it's a case, like I was saying to you, Luke, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. So you've got to go and make that extra effort for spirit. And somewhere, and it's like a lady I've been helping, albeit haven't been in her energy, and she's been phoning me about a problem she's having. And I've been through this problem 3 or 4 times. And I keep telling her there's a message on a commemorative plate that's in her cupboard in a display cabinet. And she's going, well, I haven't got a plate in there. I said, there's something in this cabinet, spirit are telling me you need to read. Whether it's a commemorative plate or a plaque or it's, all it's got is china. I said, but have you turned the china over?
Yeah.
Well, no, I haven't done that. I said, but they keep taking me every time back to this cupboard. And I described the cupboard, I described her room, and I've never ever been to her house. And this was all over the phone. I said, you've got to go to the corner of the room where the cupboard is. You've got to open the cupboard, and there'll be something in there that only has, because what's happening, she's getting lots of knocks and taps and things moving. Okay. So this has been ongoing for a long time. She had different people go in and warn her of this and warn her of that. Just recently, it's escalated. She's contacted me. Now spirit had started switching on torches and lights in the house. So now it's become, we've given you the hearing side of it, but you're not listening to that. So we're going to up the ante and we're going to start switching lights on, torches on in their handbag, and actually rustling in the handbag when she looks in, the torches on, or her phone lights come on for no reason. So spirit's trying to tell her, look,
in other words, highlight.
There's evidence. It's light in the way, and that's what I said to her. I can't tell you what's in the message because spirit won't give me that message, because that message is only for her. If spirit would to give me that message, I could say to her, the message is this, but it would mean nothing from me.
No.
But when she reads it herself, it will mean something to her from one of her loved ones. So you can lead a horse to the water, but you can't make it drink. So you've actually got to put the legwork in, if you like, and find out what spirit give you a reading, and the reading is a jigsaw. You know, you're trying to put it together, but when you're reading, you don't put it together because it's the person that you're giving the message to is the person that's got to put the message together.
Mm.
You know, and that it can be difficult when you're giving someone a reading. You go, oh no, I don't know this. Nah, definitely not that. You're thinking, well, that's what they're telling me. Why are you telling me this? No. And then I get up, walk out, come back and say, you know, I did a charity fair with Jen to readings, and I told this young lad about his grandparents and all this stuff. He's been, no, not really. And he went off, and he came back about half an hour later. He said, oh my God, I've just realised what you said. Because you've got to piece that together. I can't do that
It's
to
like a
you.
jigsaw, isn't it?
It is.
Mm.
And that's what a reading's about. It's about you getting that information
Yeah.
and putting it together.
Mm.
You know, we can only be the go-between and giving the information. And it's the same, you know, on a paranormal investigation, isn't it? You can get all the spirit won't give you. You went to the basement and heard a noise. Someone else went to the basement and saw a shadow. So why is there a shadow and a noise? You got to start. Is that a way they want to communicate with a tap or not, or do they want to see them? You've got to piece these things together, and that's how spirit is so clever at doing that. So, say that's my sign as a Robin. What's your sign for spirit, Jen?
My sign, usually feathers.
Like Angela was saying.
Yeah. Hold on, we're a bit in the dark here, darling.
That's all right. Turn around here.
In the dark room.
There you go.
Feather, isn't it?
So Jen's again is feather like Angela's. You know.
But also, when I get spirit come forwards, I get like sort of like a butterfly feeling, a cobwebby feeling. Yeah, because my throat when spirit are around.
And that's how clever they can be.
But then I'll also hear, right? So they'll give me words. Not now, later. That kind of stuff.
Oh wow.
And
that could be like years later.
and that
As in
could
the
be,
case of when we met.
yeah, and that could be what you need to do, Luke. Is just, I know you say there's hundreds of websites.
Yeah.
You know, somewhere in them, one of them websites is going to be something that means something to you. Spirit will take you there because you'll get a feeling about that website. You think, oh, why did I click on that one? Not knowing you've clicked on it, but Spirit have led you there, but they need you to do the work.
Yeah.
You know, and I know, and I've sat there and trawled through hundreds of different websites and all that type of stuff, but I've come across clicked on a website and think, well, that makes complete sense. But why did I end up there?
Yeah.
You know, so sometimes you've got to do the legwork. The spirit will guide you. You've got to do that last little bit of legwork, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Otherwise, if they come along and said, "Oh, Luke, this is your message," you get lazy, wouldn't you? You think, "Oh well, spirit will tell me what they want me to know." You know, spirit will give me. They'll whisper in my ear what I want to know. Why would they want to do that? They want you to work at it.
Right. I'm going to give you an example of something that happened when I was moving from Hurst Green to Wallingham, right? So they weren't, the council weren't giving me a time of when I was going to be moving. And I kept saying to Spirit, come on. When am I going to be moving? And they gave me this dream of my gran in bed holding the keys, like, and she's sort of wriggling the keys around in her hand. And I'm thinking, well, what does that mean? And all I got from it was not now, later. Okay. And I'm thinking, well, how much later? Anyway, I'm driving along in the car one day. So you've got to listen out for spirit, or, you know, maybe it's something that you see, like on the side of a bus or, you know, wherever. Anyway, I'm driving along and I suddenly heard them say to me, someone's got to pass before you can move into the new place. Right? So my gran was literally saying in that dream, she'd passed, hadn't she? Okay, already. So I knew maybe that was the clue, you see, in the dream. Okay. Anyway, when I actually went to view it, the lady next door to me said, I had Poppy with me. Poppy, where are you? Come here.
She's fast asleep. Leave me alone.
This is Poppy. This is Poppy. Poppy.
Ah,
Right. So anyway, I had Poppy with me, and the lady next door who saw me like view the place, she said, "Why have you got Lily?" And I said, "What do you mean, Lily? Why have you got Lily?" I said, "No, this is Poppy." And she said to me, "Oh, the lady next door, she passed and she had a dog exactly the same as you."
oh my God.
Yeah. And so that dream was like spirit saying to me, "Look, this has got to happen first before you can move." So no one knew the timing of it. They were waiting for her to pass.
And that's something, like you were saying, Luke, where, you know, we're all guilty of it, and we settle on our laurels, don't we? Think, oh well, it didn't mean anything. But in that meaning will be something that means something to you. You know, you could be manifesting, I want a job. I really need a job. I'd like a job that I'd like to enjoy. I'd like, you know, and maybe these numbers and these things that you see are telling you that something's coming.
Well, if you've seen 555 and you're after a job, that means changes are coming, right? So, you know, spirit have got the plan. They've got it all worked out upstairs. Okay. And if you've written down, I want a job that I'm going to really enjoy, they're trying to sort it out for you.
Yeah.
Okay. It doesn't, like, I don't know if I used to sing in a quartet, right? And to try and get 4 people together all at the same time used to be hellish, because like someone's doing something that day and someone else is doing something that day. Oh, blimey, yeah, we can all make the Thursday. Well, that's what spirit are trying to do. Okay. Trying to get everyone together in the right place at the right time for you to find that job.
But
Okay.
what's meant for you won't pass you by.
Yeah.
That's what I always say.
That's what you got to remember. What is meant for you won't pass you by. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you've got to have that belief and trust in spirit that they will do it.
And you can do it,
And
Luke.
you know, and it's about manifesting.
Like I was saying, it's about putting it out there and letting them work on it. You know, I thought I put it out there about a red motorbike and had nothing back for a year. I'm thinking, well, that didn't work. So what's that all about? And it wasn't until I was riding home and I'm thinking, do you know what? I'm actually on a red motorbike. What I wanted.
Yeah.
It wasn't until I got that light bulb moment of thinking, and I sort of looked out and went, thanks, Spirit, because they gave me what I was manifesting. Just because it didn't arrive in 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, it could be years before it manifests.
Yeah.
Well, try 4 or 5 days, right? So many years ago, I lost a Welsh dresser. It was a beautiful Welsh dresser. It was in storage, and it got flooded. And when I moved into Hurst Green initially, and I thought I was going to be there forever, and it didn't turn out like that at all. I said to Spirit, I want a Welsh dresser for nothing. So I went into, that was on the Friday, I went into my singing group on the Tuesday, and this lady who worked at the Barn Theatre, you know, the Barn Theatre we investigated, she's come in and she said, I know this is a bit random, but we're trying to get rid of some props. Does anyone want a Welsh dresser for nothing? Up goes my hand. And what's more, they also delivered it for free.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And that's the Welsh dresser we got indoors now.
And that's how it can happen, Luke.
Yeah, and that was like 4 days.
You know, just like that. So you've got to put it out there, mate.
And you've got to really, really believe in it. And I always say, well, if you don't believe in it, start small. Start with something small. Like, I don't know, I put out that I wanted some more cutlery for nothing. Next morning, my neighbour knocks on the door and she goes, here, Jen, I don't know if you want these knives, do you? So,
and that's how it can happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we
You've got to believe and trust in it.
yeah, you've got to trust in spirit that will do. They won't do you wrong. It's a case of putting it out there, keep putting it out there, keep putting it out there, and trust that they'll do it.
Write it down.
Write it down.
Bring it
Just-
into the
just-
now.
I remember years ago, basically, I had a ring that I loved to bits, basically, and it got nicked, basically, in a
Oh,
house where I
no.
was sharing. Yeah, it was in a house I was sharing. I knew this girl had my ring
Oh,
because that's the worst thing about it. I was sharing this
Yeah.
house, and the house was all rooms we had, basically. So I was sharing with my boyfriend at the time. And this girl, basically, I had this ring which I left in we shared the bathroom there, and I left my ring basically on the side.
yeah.
And then later on, I came back that you do and everything else, and I thought, oh crap, I've left my ring on the side. Went back there, it was gone. So later on, I was asking people, blah blah blah, that you do, being polite with them and everything else. And then one day, this girl that's living in that house had my ring on my finger, and I never got it back. Basically, but
Really?
one
You
day,
didn't confront her?
I did. She
Oh,
said, no, it was hers. She said, blah, blah. So what's funny, because my one was exactly like that, la, la, la. Do you know what I mean? Well, years went on, and I always loved that ring. That was my, best of, well, I was
Yeah.
really devastated because you something you love. And I got it somebody bought it for me for my birthday as well at one point. So it meant something to me.
Oh,
So the point was, at the end of the day, is that I wanted one exactly the same. Never could because it was literally a wishbone ring. That's what it was with blue. It was green. Oh no, light. Sorry, that's it. It wasn't diamonds. It was blue topaz, and it had
Oh,
like,
nice.
and
Yeah.
it was like the wishbone ring basically
Bit
with the
like
blue topaz.
aquamarine.
Yeah. So it had fake stones. So it's them I can't think the word is now, but whatever. Yeah. So I loved that to bits. And then one day, you never could see him around anything else. And I always wanted another one. And I always thought, I wish I could have one of them. I wish I could let you do another one. And then one day I went past the jewellery, there it was. One day in the window. And it actually fitted me. And I've got
Oh,
it to this
wow.
day.
Unreal.
I still got it to this day.
Nice.
Ring. So yeah, so
So
it's
Luke,
like you say, it's meant to be. If it, do you know
Yeah.
what I mean,
Yeah.
if you want one that much, it will happen.
you know, it's like walking past the jewellery shop. Why did you look in the window? Why that jewellers?
No, I don't know.
Because it was
That's
meant to
weird.
be.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what's meant to be won't pass you by, Luke. And that's
No.
what you've got
No,
to do,
yeah.
mate. Keep pushing it out there. Keep working on it. Because you don't get a response back, don't give up.
Mm.
It's
Yeah.
all about just
Yeah.
being persistent.
But it's like
Yeah.
these actors and actresses, isn't it? They have to keep plodding on to get the parts they want and
Yeah.
stuff like that. And you hear some of them, don't you? That like never succeed until like the 50s even.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Anyway, we've done an hour and 22 minutes. Just a quick one. It's the Cryptid Conference this Saturday. Myself from Host for Ghosts and Angela from South Coast Ghost will be there with Jen, my partner. So it's a conference in Bridgeport. Is that right? Purple Spoons Cafe.
That's the one, yeah.
So it's all about cryptid, the paranormal, some really, really, really good talk speakers there. Some vendors are there. Very good activity for the children. Angela's been there before. So this is the second annual one. It's hosted by Daniel Barnett. So tickets are free. I'm sure there'll be some available. So come down there. Come and see myself, Angela and Jenny. I don't think Luke's going to go. I'm not sure about Paula. Julia can't go,
No.
unfortunately, from Paranation, but we'll be there representing the Monday Night Live. So if you want, come down and see us. Come and ask. I will be there. We'll say hello. Yes, Christine.
Ah.
Be real pleasure to meet you there. Come and say hello. You'll see. You see how good looking I am in the flesh and not on camera.
I made him have his hair cut today.
It's not a camera trick, honestly. I am that good looking. It's not highlighted or anything like that, I can assure you. So come down and meet us, come and chat to us. We'll have some equipment on show and come and ask us a question. So that's the Cryptid Conference and run by Daniel and his family. So lots of good speakers on Sasquatch, Bigfoot, UFOs. I think it's got a guy there as a ufologist and paranormal investigator. Is it Steve something, Angela? Steve? Sorry. Yeah, I can't remember your name. I'm sure it was Steve. So he will be very interesting. Same as us. We'll be there giving you a talk. and we'll be there for the rest of the day. So you can come along and chat to us if you want to know anything, questions, have a look at some of the equipment. We'll bring a small amount of equipment, obviously, because of the expense of it, but you're welcome to come and have a look, come and chat to us. We're there all day. We don't bite, believe it or not. So if you think we do, we don't. And we're good fun. We have a laugh. So please do come down. Purple Spoons Cafe Saturday from 10 o'clock, I think it is. From 10 o'clock onwards. Come down and meet Daniel, one of the youngest Bigfoot researchers in Britain. Lots of his friends from America are over. So come and meet them and chat to them and get signed autograph books and, buy stuff from the vendors. So come along. There's lots of interesting. John Dowes will be there talking about Bigfoot and his adventures and lots of people. So it'll be a very, very good venue. And it's the second one he's had. What's the postcode?
I'll look it up. Give me a second.
Angela, look it up for you,
I'm on
Samantha.
it. I'm on it.
But it's well worth going because Angela went last time with Darren and had a thoroughly good, real good time. And this time he's got a lot good guest speakers. And I think my paranormal speaker talk is about 10:30, I think, but can't confirm that. So there'll be lots of, and they're free tickets to get in. So I'm sure there'll be some spare ones. Come to the door, and I'm sure he'll get you in. Come and meet Daniel and have a chat with him. And he's got a book out. I'm sure he'll sign the book. If you buy the book, he'll sign it for you. And there'll be lots of others there that have signed autographs of their books. So do come along, come and meet us, come and see us in person. Come and have a chat with us. Say, I was so and so Samantha on the Paranormal Monday Night Live. So it'd be lovely to put a face to the comments. Come and meet us and see what we're like. We're more funny in the flesh than we are on here.
Think for yourself.
So we'll be there. Did you get?
Yeah, the postcode is TA9 3DD. I'll type it in the comments as well.
If you look up below, you'll see that it'll come up in the comments. So make a note of it. Come down from 10 o'clock onwards till, is it 6 o'clock, Angela, or is it a bit late? I'm not sure.
7.
Sorry?
I think it's 7.
7.
Yeah.
So pop down and see us. We'll be there to the end.
That's a long old day.
It's a long old day, but we'll be there.
Yeah.
We'll be there in spirit anyway. Whether we're there in the flesh will be another thing.
Oh, you can bring dogs.
So we'll be there. So come down and chat with us. He has got some really, really great talkers, speakers, vendors going. Make his day as well. Get as many people there because he works hard on this conference, and it takes a lot of getting stuff. Hence why he's not on here tonight, because he's probably flat out trying to do the last final moments of the venue to get every speakers on. Get the sound equipment, get everything ready because it's a big venue to put on. And bless him, him and his family are working hard to get it to work. And if it goes anything like the first one, it'll be a great day.
So
it'll be a great day, well worth coming down, especially as it's a free venue as well. Children are welcome. There's lots of children's events happening, so bring your children along, let them have the events and go along and listen to the talks and all the stuff that's going on. So only remains for me to say thank you, Samantha, and everybody else that's come in tonight and commented. I hope what we covered tonight helps a lot of people. Leave your comments. We do go back on the lives and look at them and review them and try and answer the messages. If you leave us a message, we'll certainly get back to it. Be myself, Paul from Host for Ghost, and Angela from South Coast Code. You will see us pop up and we can send you a message back if you want to know about something, equipment, various things. So we hope that the topic tonight was interesting and that you understood what we were talking about, pareidolia and all these trying to debunk this type of evidence. So only remains for me to say have a very, very safe week, and we will see you Saturday if you're going along. Please do try and come along, come and meet us in person and have a bit of a laugh. So it only remains for me to say have a safe week and bye everybody. Take care.
Thank you. Bye.
See you later. Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Why does it take so long to end?